Hi Stampin' friends, tonight I'm going to show you a couple things with the new packaging, and I'm also going to use the Cake Day stamp set and the Cake Day dies. These dies are actually not available right now, but you can sign up on the Stampin' Up page. I put a little link on the one that talks about this, that lets you know about this live, that shows you a picture of what it looks like when you sign up with your email for Stampin' Up to email you when the item is available again. You can do that for any item that, it's basically what used to be a back order, but they don't do that anymore, so then it's currently unavailable. So you can see here that the Cake Day stamps are available, but the dies are currently not. So I apologize for using one that's not currently available, but I kind of wanted to use it in a somewhat timely manner. So you can see that why I would choose to go ahead and use it. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the way that I am going to use these new sleeves. I'm going to cut the inside pieces out as needed. Just to make it thinner, because these are pretty tight. It's very possible I will cut this top off. That is what I had been doing. And then I use Stampin' Storage magnet sheets. So what I'll do on this, for most of the time, not all the time, but this back side will have the stamp set stuck to it. The ones that I'm using tonight are out. And then the magnet side will have the dies stuck to it. So that makes it easy to keep it all together. And you can watch me here. I'm just going to slide this in. I'm going to put it with the dies showing, because you can see this, the cake part, and then you can see when I have the dies in there, you'll be able to see that. So super easy on that. And then I think I'm just going to cut the top off, because these aren't going anywhere out of these little guys. I mean, you can get them out, but they're not going to be floppy or anything. One thing I did want to point out that I'm not using the great little macarons, and I'm not using these tiny stars. The thin candles, this is to cut out some of our, well, not that one, but some of these sentiments, and then this ganache dripping. So cute. But that just wasn't what I chose to do tonight. It would have looked great, of course. So let's get started. I did 4 cards tonight. So we'll see how much patience you all have in even watching this tonight, because there's quite a few cards. I liked putting the peach with the brown. I think it looks nice. Then I was thinking, well, what color of these gorgeous little candles will I put on there? I decided that probably a blue candle would look peppy. So I kind of imagined, hold on just a second, sorry about that, putting this on here, which this is a weird color combination, but I kind of liked it. You could also use just a brown. So I was kind of back and forth on that. So let's go ahead and talk about the pieces that we have here. There is certainly no need to mount this little card on a piece of cardstock. It doesn't have to be a full-size card. This, the die cuts this right here, the big die, and you can just put this, be really cute to punch a hole right here, put it on some ribbon, and have it put on a gift bag or something. I think that would be very useful and cute. Now we have these little, oops, I think I dropped a guy on the floor there. And we have these little pieces. So what I was imagining here was a milk chocolate icing with a chocolate cake, and then putting these little guys on there, and then possibly using, top and bottom, kind of that. And then using these on the top, and our happy birthday coming right there. And then a few candles. I feel like these are cut in groups of 3, but you certainly don't have to use 3. And then I also kind of wanted to point out that it has these little filler things, little explosions, so as if your candles are those popping candles, if that makes sense. I hope you all can see this. I can't tell if it's close enough to you right now, but anyway, that makes it nice. Now, one thing I was going to mention here, you can use Versamark to make your layer cake lines, or you can use just the color ink that it is. So that's kind of another choice. Let me go ahead and show you. I actually think I will show you on a more high contrast color here, but I wanted to show the chocolate because it does look so nice and rich. Okay, so my plan here was just showing basically a butter recipe golden with icing. So I tried some lemon lolly, which would be pretty, but also I think this looks really good for the extra bits of piping. And then this here, here, and here. And some great little guys. Hold on just a second. I have that one upside down. Just kind of tuck them in there. I won't leave them on the top. And then you can put, for this one, I kind of like the silver, only because the silver is the, goes with these kind of lighter colors. Another thing I wanted to show you is kind of putting almost like a plate behind it. Well, this is not the right perspective or anything like that, but putting a circle behind here, probably putting it toward that direction, will allow more contrast just as you're putting your card together, and it'll make that really cute. You could also put yellow on the top, you know, that whole thing. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to kind of rip it back apart, and I'm going to take this piece here because this piece does not have a back on it. This is one that you would definitely just adhere to the back. So basically I cut it out, and then I cut this edge even so that we could put it on a card. So I'm going to turn it around my direction while I'm stamping. And so there's these little lines are pieces of like kind of edges for the ink, edges for the, for the icing, and then like a little, this side then is a little bit of filler for the icing. So what I'm going to do here is put my edge, and I'm thinking of this as a 3-layer cake. Stampin' Up! Did like every other one. They did quite a few layers. I'm just going to do 2. You could do it whichever way you want, but I'm just going to plan that I have basically 2 layers, or 3 layers, I mean. So I'm only doing 2 of these guys, like that. And then I'm going to put this inside. As if that is how thick the icing is. Boy, that's thick icing. Another way that I can imagine doing this is just using this one over and over. So that's what I'll do on the next one when I want to show you a little bit of something there. Okay, but imagining this put back here, let's see. That kind of gives it a cakey look. You can see kind of what I was talking about there. And I just think this is so sweet. Certainly one of the other sentiments would be cute, but I kind of think that the main focus of this is kind of the fact that we're putting a whole bunch of stuff on the top. So I do think that the little happy birthday tucked in there does make it super cute. All right, I'm going to set this one aside. And then I'm going to talk about what I would do if I wanted to have a red velvet cake. And what I would have in mind is probably putting a black background. You could put, if you wanted to, you could put it on a white plate. And I think I would use, with the layers, I would use white embossing powder or white craft ink and clear embossing powder to create that, because I think that this is a really cute look. Then I actually stamped these in crumb cake that was stamped off once. I did try our new basic beige, but to my eye, the crumb cake looked more like vanilla than the beige did. Beige has a little bit of gray in it, and the crumb cake sort of doesn't. So to me, that's what makes that cute. So there you can see, I put this together, and then you would put some of your little, here I might want to use our silver, our gold, and whoops, there, and there. And you can layer them, of course, as well. Stampin' Up! Did that on their example. And that makes a really cute card. Then you've just got your happy birthday here to put on, and that's super cute. Like I said, I'm gonna go in and put white embossing on that. That'll look really sweet. Whoops, I moved this, sorry about that. But you can see that, let me get this a little closer, see if you can, yeah, it's just very light, the way I stamped off the crumb cake. All right, next I'm going to put this one together. I'm going to use, this is the little plaid embossing folder. I'm just going to stick that down. I'm going to go ahead and use this is our green, Mono Multi Green Capped Glue in a dispenser from My Sweet Petunia because it's faster for me. So I was putting the basic beige, this is the basic beige paper, which is much lighter than the than our crumb cake paper. Our crumb cake paper also has a lot of recycled paper in it, so I didn't really want to use it because it's not a smooth texture like this is. Then I'm gonna take I'm gonna close this chocolate up because we've already used it. I'm gonna use, with this one, let me clean this off real quick. Probably gonna clean the back sides on it, get it all over my hand, huh? All right, I'm just going to use our Melon Mambo for fun and excitement. I'm gonna put it in strips across the front. So I'm holding this down because if you don't, it can come up and get here. And if you should have happened to miss any of your ink, you'll get it on this other part. So I'm holding it down with my hand. And then I'm just doing like, trying to look here, let me show you. So like if you line this up here, these are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and a half long. So when you divide 10, you kind of want to do in the middle after 2 and up here after 2. And that will get you to approximately thirds of your cake. Does that make sense? Count the number of grids. So this probably wouldn't matter whether you were English or metric. Count the number here and then just go back. That's just an easy and quick way. So just kind of my thoughts on that. So what my plan was here was to go down a little bit from the top, and I'm just going to do it a couple of times like that. And I didn't re-ink because I just kind of want it to have texture. So my thought here was like this was a raspberry filled cake. And then here on this one, I'm just going to go up just a little bit from the bottom and go across there. It kind of keeps it neat. Okay, so there's my way of getting it into thirds. Then the next thing I'm going to do is get out this stamp. It has little sprinkles on it, and I'm going to pretend that I'm using the raspberry or hot pink type sprinkles. Just going to ink this up here with my Melon Mambo again. Hope that I have it fairly well inked. Then I just want to check and make sure. That's what I use this Kleenex. I don't want to take off all my ink, but I want to be sure there's not any ink on the edges there where the things are, where I could accidentally get it on my card. All right, so what I'm gonna do is just kind of stamp it there. There you go. There you can see how that looks. And there's another stamp in here that I was going to mention as well. I forgot about it. I forgot to grab it. it has just little circles, so it's perfect for making another way of having, just a second, some sprinkles on. And so my idea with it was that I would use a block and just use either, you could use Bubble Bath because it's lighter than Pretty in Pink, but I was thinking probably Pretty in Pink. I've got 2 pinks going already, so that's probably enough. And then I would just take this and add it here and there. So what I'm doing is just going all down the side, and then I want to be sure and put some over here. Just trying to not make it look like they're the same, so that they look like they're going off the, like they're cut in half and things like that. So I'm just going down the sides and around. Put some there, there. Okay, so there you can, whoopsie. There you can see how I ended that up. Then I'm just gonna take this piece and adhere it onto my cake. So I'm going to, you could, probably a good idea to make it stick really well is put it along the edge of the base piece. But then I'm also gonna go just kind of here, down the middle, because we want it to stay stuck, if that makes sense. And then that way we don't have to slide it very much, just a little bit of sliding to get it in the right place. Now, even though I used the pink sprinkles and the pink raspberry inside, I still kind of like this beige looking bit on the outside. So I'm going to put those on there. And I also wanted to talk here about the white ones because I think they would look good with just a little bit of crumb cake, just kind of put on with our blending brush. So I'm going to try that real quick, and I'm going to make sure that I don't go directly from the ink pad to the thing, because watch how dark this is going to be when I go directly from the ink pad to the thing. It's pretty dark. Okay, hold on. There you go. So I'm just making sure that I pound it off, and then I'm just gonna pound on the, whoopsie, how funny, pound it on my little thing just to give it color. And I'm just gonna put it, kind of try to put it on the edge, and that will just make it look a little bit more like the other ones. Like they have extra bits of vanilla in them. Vanilla is good. Makes everything taste better. Okay, so I'm gonna put this here across the bottom and here across the top. Just use a tiny little bit of, I guess I should look at this and see if I've got this going the right way. I want it to look like a right-handed person did it or a left-handed person did it. Doesn't really matter, just kind of fun. So I'll put that right across the top. And I'm gonna put this one across the bottom. And this is hanging off the bottom. So the top, you can see it would have a circular kind of look to it. So I kind of want to angle that just a little bit. But the bottom, I want it actually kind of off the card. You can see there, like that. So then I'm gonna put these guys on the top. And one there and one there. You certainly could use dimensionals. My reason for not using dimensionals was only because I was thinking about tucking things in, and I thought it might make it easier to tuck in. So then I'm gonna put a little bit on both sides of this candle. So I want to put 3 candles on here. That's my plan. I'll tuck one behind. Whoops, these guys are popping off. That wouldn't happen if I had used dimensionals. I want to keep this up at the top. I'm kind of sliding them around there. Sorry about that. I want to keep this up at the top like it's just barely on there. Then I was imagining doing this with the other pink one. Okay. I'm going to tuck this one in going the other way. And then I'm going to add one, and I think in the front, which like try to tuck it under something here. Be right under there, so that they don't look like they're just kind of stuck in. Now, one thing, this has a lot of sticky stuff I just got on it, but you can take your adhesive eraser, which you can get these, I believe, on Amazon now. We used to carry them, Stampin' Up. This is a Stampin' Up one, but you can still get them, and they are great for any kind of little situation that you have with your ink when you're trying to put that together. All right, so that's that. And then I'm just going to tack my tick-tock, my little happy birthday in there. Something like that. All right. Then I thought this yellow could be cute. We could try the yellow on here for these. Or we could use the gold, kind of just whichever. So I'm going to glue this down. Oh, and I meant to cut a piece. When you're planning your, using your, I just want to make sure that my card will still open when I set this here. Open this way. When you're setting this on here, you just want to put a liner on the inside. So my plan with that was, the top is completely straight. So all you really need to do is cut another one of these, and then, you know, with your Big Shot, and then just take off about a 1/4 or 1/8 of an inch, however much edge you like, off of this side and this side, because those two sides are straight. So you could have a liner that does the entire card, or you could just have it kind of lining right here, and then use your corner rounder up on this corner if you want it to be that big. You could also just cut a little square or a slightly elongated rectangular square to do that. But let's see here. I think I'll put, you could put some silver looks really good with this. I'm kind of surprised, but I was thinking that silver and gold together would be cute. So let me do that. Just going to put some glue on this one, and there's a gold one and a silver one. My point is, even though this is slightly covered up here, I think that the you can cut this off as well. I probably will do that. It looks cute to have several of these guys on here. So you could put silver, gold, silver, and that makes a super cute little card. You can see how I'll finish that. Now, I probably also would add a little bit, a few more adhesive dots and things. Another possibility that I wanted to mention, I'm just going to tuck those off of there, is our these Christmas faceted snowflakes. Well, I think these will be super cute on here as flames. So that's kind of my opinion of what is super cute for that. So let's see here if you all can see that. There we are. I think those are super fast and simple and add just the right amount of bling to your card when you're trying to, and I like leaving this floppy because I think that looks kind of cool. So anywho, obviously we don't want to see this bottom part though. So let me go ahead and just show you how simple. Just take it and just cut it off. Easy peasy. All right, so there we are. Just a simple little cake card. It opens up cutely. You can put something inside. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun for us to play with. And I think that you would enjoy. I enjoyed cutting the pieces. I enjoyed doing the little bit of stamping that I did. And you can use just the stamps if you want. But I just like the idea of using the colors. So remember, we did a red velvet over here, which you can kind of still see when I stamped off with the one stamp off using crumb cake. And then we also will use you'll see these on my blog, the kind of milk chocolate with the dark chocolate on the top. And then we did kind of these slightly more manly colors with the blue things and the yellow. So I'll get those put together for you and show you some possibilities on that, I think. But don't overlook these little snowflakes because I think they are so nice. Thank you so much for watching.